Perfect. Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Halldora from Koenigsegg. I'm the COO of Koenigsegg Automotive in Sweden. It's a pleasure to be here today to have the US premiere of our latest and greatest, the Koenigsegg Jesko. About 5 weeks ago, we unveiled this beauty in Geneva at the auto show. And for us it was an incredible moment. We've been working on this concept for a couple of years, and this car is the replacement of our Agera RS. For a year we had kept a secret from my father-in-law. He is a wonderful man, and in the early beginnings of Koenigsegg, around 25 years ago, when my husband founded this company, his father was instrumental to the business. He came on board and was only supposed to help out for a couple of weeks, but he stayed on for 5 years. My husband and his father, they worked side by side in the early beginnings. He just turned 80 last year, and as we're celebrating 25 years as a company, we thought it would be a great tribute to honor Christian's father, Jesko from Koenigsegg, and to give him this car. So we had managed to keep this a secret for him for over a year, and during the unveiling we announced this to him, and of course it was very emotional and very nice to do that. As I said, 25 years as a company, it's taken us this far with several models and a lot of world records, new technologies, and at the moment we're also evolving our business in Sweden. We are the current Hyperline that we are running with the Koenigsegg Regera. It's not on display here today, but we have a few cars coming to the US, and so I'm hoping that you will see them on the roads really shortly. We are doubling that production, and we're going from about 20 cars a year to 40 cars a year with our current Hyperline. But next year in Geneva we will be demonstrating a new concept, and that's really a step change for our company. We will be producing a Koenigsegg from Ängelholm in higher volumes, still being an extreme performance car. It will be around $1 million. This is around $3 million, so it's a little bit more affordable. Still an amazing performance car, but with a unique concept. So this we're actually working on right now. We are extending our production facilities. We're employing 300 more people to our company, and growing our amazing team. So I would like to say that this is a car built by enthusiasts with a lot of passion. We have Christian, our visionary leader, who is a great inventor and that helps us break new grounds with new technologies over and over again. And of course, without him, these cars would not look like this. But we also have an amazing team, and now we're growing that team, so if anyone wants to move to Ängelholm, you know where to find us. So I would like to present Tarek Ali, who's our sales manager for the US, and he will now take you through the car and share with you some of the interesting new innovations and details. It's a pleasure being here today, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dora. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name's Tarek. I'm the sales director for America and England, the United Kingdom. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the car, some of the technical highlights. I think the newest thing about the Jesko is the gearbox. We have a new gearbox on this car. And the reason that we have to have a new gearbox is, well, we wanted more gears, and there wasn't a gearbox in the market that we could buy that could take the torque that the engine produces. So with us, we are very much in the forefront of what mankind has achieved in terms of road car performance. So in order because the gearbox didn't exist, we decided to build one ourselves. And our engineering team and Christian came up with the idea of having a 9-speed gearbox that has 7 clutches. So rather than having a dual clutch gearbox, which only has 2 clutches, and when you're changing gears, you swap clutches or swap gearboxes in effect. With this gearbox, it's a similar concept, but you're swapping clutches. So the advantage is, first of all, that you're able to skip gears. So you're able to go from 1st gear to 3rd gear, or from 9th gear to 4th gear in one gear change, rather than having to go sequentially up and down through the gearbox. The other advantage of this type of gearbox is we have less gear sets. So in a normal 9-speed gearbox, you would have to have 9 sets of gears. In this gearbox, we have 6 sets of gears producing 9 speeds, because instead of having 2 shafts in the gearbox, we have 3 shafts. So by having less gear sets, we're able to make each gear stronger and a little bit heavier, because we don't have to have the 9 gear sets. Therefore, the gearbox is able to take the torque. The other advantage is it's very, very small and very light. So the entire gearbox, with the clutches and the starter motor that's integrated into the gearbox, and the differential that's also integrated into the gearbox weighs about 90 kilos, which, for the amount of torque that this gearbox can take, it's, I think, pretty well, it's, like I said, on the limit of what has been achieved so far. Another new feature on the car is the engine. We've evolved the engine, we've changed the heads on the engine. We have a new tumble valve that creates some turbulence in the combustion chamber. So we're able to meet, well, with this car we will meet CARB emission standards that will come into effect in 2026. So we're quite ahead of the curve in terms of emissions, which is obviously very important. We have a new crankshaft on this car. We've gone from a cross-plane crank to a flat-plane crank. So the crankshaft is a lot lighter. We've saved about 4 kilos. So the crankshaft now weighs 12 kilos. So because the crankshaft's a bit lighter, we've been able to raise the rev limit to 8,500 RPM. We also have been able to achieve a little bit more of a visceral sound, which unfortunately I can't show you here today, but I'm sure you'll be able to hear the car in the near future on some videos, or when we start driving the car. Some other new features of this car is the amount of aerodynamic downforce that this car produces. So at 155 miles an hour, we're able to produce 880 kilos of downforce with this car. So that is nearly double what we were doing with the Agera RS. So a tremendous amount of aerodynamic grip, which enables the car to be a real. I mean, we expect this car to set a few lap records at some different tracks. The engine produces up to 1,600 horsepower, and with a curb weight of 1,400 kilos, that's in excess of 1 horsepower per kilo, which is again, I think, another first. Other new things in the car, we have a very unique dashboard just in the steering wheel, which actually turns when you turn the steering wheel. So you're always able to read what's on the screen when you turn the wheel. So it rotates. We have an analog G-force meter as well, which uses bearings and it's completely analog, and it's powered by G-force. So that's also something that's quite new. We also made the monocoque bigger and longer, and we did that pretty much specifically for the US market, because well, people in America tend to be quite tall, and we found with some of our older cars that some of our potential customers didn't fit in the car. So we've made this car longer, a little bit wider, and a little bit taller. And I think that's pretty much it. Obviously the car's got active aerodynamics and an active chassis. We have 4G connectivity in the car. The car is also, like all Koenigseggs, it's a roadster, so you can actually remove the roof. The roof panel is removable and it comes up. With this car, we can't store the roof in the front because we have a Venturi in the front to produce a lot more downforce. But we have two variants of the car, something I didn't talk about actually. This is the ring version. So the idea of this car is really geared towards track performance. But then we have another version, which we'll unveil a little bit later, and that will have less aerodynamic downforce, so it'll be more aerodynamic and have less drag. It will also have longer gears, and it'll have the power upgrade as standard. And that car is going to be called the 300. And the 300 will do 300 miles an hour. So we are hopefully going to be the first to 300 miles an hour with that car. And with that car, because we have less downforce, we don't need the Venturi in the front, so you're able to store the roof in the front luggage compartment of that car. So you know, if it ever starts raining, then you can just take the roof out and put it back on the car. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Thank you, everybody. Hope I, yeah, thank you.